Here's the recap of the first and second season of From. Somewhere in this world there is a town from which it is impossible to get out. If you walk or drive on the road out of it, you are bound to go back in. Over the years, people have gotten there and stayed there because they couldn't get out. However, there was always another problem. Every night, some kind of immortal creatures came out onto the streets. They looked like humans, but were not. They mercilessly hunted the inhabitants of the town and brutally killing them. The citizens were used to hiding in dens and created small shelters, but death still happened. All this went on for an unknown amount of time until Boyd arrived in the town with his wife and son Ellis. Boyd accidentally found some stones that serve as talismans. If you hang them in the house and close all the doors and windows, the monsters can't get in. But the monsters also have intelligence. They can take any form, and every night they ask the residents to let them in, begging for help. Soon the townspeople have rules. If through someone's fault a person dies, the guilty party is locked in a crate for the night, and where they will be eaten by the monsters. Also in the settlement there are two camps which although dislike each other but live in peace. One is in the center of the city, and each family lives in a separate house with its own talisman. The other group has settled in a huge house and live in a commune where all things are common. The center is run by Boyd and the country house by Donna. In the present day, the main character's family is on a road trip. Father Jim, Mother Tabitha, and two children, Julie and Ethan. Suddenly a tree falls in front of them, and they see ominous ravens. Soon the family stumbles into a small town where the citizens look at them with bitter compassion. The citizens realize that it will be hard for the newcomers to believe all this and prepare to tell them the truth. However, the family begins to run in circles trying to get out of the town, and soon get into an accident colliding with another car. Sheriff Boyd and his deputy Kenny first take one of the injured to the hospital, then send the others to the common house. The main characters realize that they will not be able to carry the badly injured Ethan out of the transport before dark. Nurse Christie, the sheriff, the boy, and his father Jim remain in the overturned van. Boyd closes all the exits and hangs up a talisman in hopes that it will help keep the monsters at bay. He tells the newcomer what's going on here, and that's when they show up outside. Meanwhile, in the common house, the residents also tell the newcomers what's going on. At night in the hospital, a strange woman, Sarah, kills one newcomer for some reason after asking for forgiveness. Then the voices in her head order her to open the door to the hospital, and she goes home, where her brother Nathan sees the traces of blood and realizes what she has done. Meanwhile, monsters enter the clinic and brutally murder everyone there. Soon morning comes. Everyone in the overturned van is left alive, and little Ethan manages to be saved. However, the child begins to see a boy in white in the woods. The local Saint Father Katri informs the family of the main characters that they will have to make a choice: live in the center of town in their home or join Donna's commune. Jim, Tabitha, and little Ethan choose the town, but their daughter Julie, being a rebellious teenager, decides to stay in the communal house because she likes the sheriff's son Ellis, who lives there. Plus, we learn that Jim and Tabitha were planning to divorce because of the recent death of their young child. Also, Jade, another newcomer who survived the accident, finally comes to his senses and thinks it's all some kind of prank or game. However, after a while he starts to notice the strangeness of the place and realizes that it's all true. After that, Jade settles in the center of town with Deputy Kenny and his mother. We are introduced to another resident of the township, Victor. He behaves like a child and is the oldest inhabitant of the settlement. We don't know when it happened, but one day monsters killed the whole town and Victor was the only survivor. Throughout the season, the man will do various strange things, and we also learn that he, like Ethan, sees a boy in white. Soon he shows Ethan strange trees. If you go in there or throw any object, it will be teleported to a random location. We also see that Victor has drawn sketches throughout his life that either predict the future or narrate the past. However, no one takes Victor seriously. Sarah has a seizure and the voices in her head tell her that she must kill little Ethan. The woman kidnaps the boy, but her brother tries to stop his sister. As a result of the struggle, Sarah kills Nathan. This is witnessed by Father Katri. He ties her up and locks her in his basement. so that she will not be executed by the locals. Sarah tells him about the voices, and at first he thinks the woman is a cuckoo, but she proves their existence when she tells Katri about things she couldn't possibly know. Jade sees a strange symbol in the cellar and a squashed monster that disappears like a hallucination. He tells Kenny about it, and Kenny tells him that the town has a lot of strange things going on. For example, the town itself is located in several places at once, as all the people came to it from different parts of America. Suddenly, Jade hears interference in the radio and decides to create a stronger transmitter to contact the outside world. Together with Jim, they gather different parts and build an antenna on a hill, but still receive only interference. Also, Jade again sees hallucinations in the face of mangled soldiers of the American Civil War, causing the man to think he is going crazy. Soon, Kenny's mother Tian Chen notices that Jade is drawing a strange symbol and shows him an old sketchbook with the same drawings. In this notebook, he finds a photo that shows little Victor. Afterwards, Jade realizes that he is not going crazy. Jim and Tabitha conclude that they are dead and in purgatory. They notice that in the city, even though the electrical appliances are working, the wires through which electricity is supposed to flow have no strands. In other words, it simply can't be. Soon Tabitha starts digging a hole in the basement trying to find out where the wires go. Toward the end of the season, she stumbles upon a solid surface and begins digging it out with a pickaxe. Boyd suffers from the fact that in the past he had to kill his wife, who went crazy, and because of this his son does not speak to him. The man pulls himself together and decides to do something to save the locals. He wants to go deep into the forest, taking with him a tent and one talisman, in the hope that he will find help. Soon the priest tells Boyd about Sarah and her voices, confirming her words. Katri suggests that the sheriff take her with him, as she is clearly connected to this place, and may be the key to everything that is going on. Julie meets Fatima, who is Ella's lover. A sympathy develops between the three of them. As I recall, in this commune, everything is common. One night, one of the inhabitants of the country house is manipulated by the monsters and opens a window. After that, a real massacre begins. Of the significant characters, only the priest Katri dies. Meanwhile, Victor and Julie flee into the woods. They climb into a teleporting tree and are transported to the very cellar. Boyd and Sarah head into the woods to find a way out of the place. After walking for a few hours, they come across a strange tree with bottles hanging from it. After knocking one down, Sarah has another seizure and Boyd has to pitch a tent. When she regains consciousness, he shows her the note that was in the bottle. It is dated 1864. Sarah says that a new voice has appeared in her head, telling them not to go any further as there are worse things than monsters in the forest. And also says a phrase that hints to us that it is the voice of Boyd's dead wife. Suddenly, the tent is attacked by an unknown force, after which a bright light comes on and Boyd hears a loud sound. However, when they come out, they see that the whole forest is covered with webs. Boyd is visited by hallucinations of his wife and is then attacked by spiders and bites the sheriff. Soon the travelers see a lighthouse from which the strange sound comes. On the way, Boyd becomes quite ill. A boy in white appears and tells Sarah that it is safe in the hollow of a nearby tree. She pushes the sheriff there, after which Boyd finds himself in a bottomless well from which it is impossible to get out. At this time, Jade and Jim are going to build a huge antenna on top of the country house, and all the residents decide to help them with it. After completing the construction, Jim turns on his radio and hears a voice addressing him by name. He informs him that Tobita should not have dug that hole. The man hurries home, but at that moment the bottom of the pit collapses and a woman falls into the cave. She sees that the power wire doesn't really lead anywhere. Victor suddenly appears and informs her that it is not safe here as the monsters sleep in this place. He shows their drawings and also says that the boy in white told them where to find her and they need to get out of here soon. At this point, just before sunset, a whole busload of people pull into the town. This is the end of the first season. Let's pause for a moment. Here you can like this video, subscribe to my channel, and write some comments. Thanks. Before the bus pulls into the town, Elgin, one of the passengers, has an ominous dream and asks the driver not to go any further. But they don't listen to him and stop at a diner. The rest of the town realizes how difficult it will be to explain to so many people about where they are. So Donna threatens them with guns and forces them into the diner. However, some escape. Meanwhile, Jim tries to rescue his wife, who has fallen into a hole in the basement, and is helped by the new arrivals. Soon the house collapses and the others decide to take their time with the rescue, as it is soon night and the monsters will come out. When the monsters arrive, they kill several of the escaped newcomers as well as the local bartender. Meanwhile, Victor leads Tabitha through the tunnels under the city. It turns out that this is where the monsters live, but they sleep during the day. Tabitha sees a small child in a cage in the cave. Soon they come to the surface and hide in Victor's secret hideout. Boyd is in the well for some time, but he cannot get up on his own. Soon someone throws him a rope, and when he climbs out, he sees a weak old man chained to the wall. He tells him that there is something worse in the forest than the monsters that come out at night. Suddenly, the melody coming from the music box starts to play. The old man says that Boyd needs to get out soon, but first he asks him to kill him, ending his suffering. The main character wants to free him, but when the music stops, the old man scratches him, puts his bloody hand to the wound and says, "My blood now your blood," after which he dies. Boyd takes a torch from the wall and finds himself in the same room, but already destroyed. Soon some dog appears and it leads the man to Victor's hideout, where he is hiding with Tabitha. In the morning, Boyd discovers some worms under his skin, just like the chained old man. It turns out that one of the passengers on the bus was a girl named Marielle, who worked as a pediatrician. We learn that she is Christie's lover. When she disappeared, Marielle thought that her friend simply ran away. So she became depressed and began to use various illegal substances. In the future, she will steal medicines from the local clinic. But when Christie catches her, Marielle decides to quit. Jade learns that Victor has something to do with the symbol he keeps seeing and tries to talk to him. At first, Victor is not willing to share any information with Jade, but eventually admits that the diary that Jade found in the previous season used to belong to his friend Christopher. However, when people started trying to find out anything about the place, something happened and everyone but Victor died. During this time, Tabitha begins to see hallucinations of children and tries to figure out what is going on here. Soon she goes to the cave and is surrounded by these children repeating the same word, Ankui. That's when Jade shows up and the kids disappear. Tabitha tells the man that she saw the symbol from the diary in the caves. Jade goes there where he sees the hallucination again. The same children on pedestals looking up and repeating Ankui. And at the top is a hole and roots replicating the same symbol. Kenny finds Sarah in the church and calls Boyd. Turns out the girl went into the tree after the man, but for some reason ended up here. Kenny is angry at the sheriff for letting Sarah live after all she's done. He thinks she should be sent to a crate where she'll be eaten by monsters. Boyd says that the rules have changed and Sarah is too valuable to kill since she has a connection to this place for some reason. And soon the whole town finds out that Sarah is alive. Boyd begins to experience unpleasant hallucinations, as well as pain caused by the parasites under his skin. He even takes Kenny to the very ruins where he met the old man, but no one believes him, thinking that he has simply gone cuckoo. After a while, people begin to realize that the food will soon run out because of the new arrivals. Distrust begins to grow, and while trying to calm the people, Ellis is stabbed. He is taken to the clinic at night, and the main characters realize that due to blood loss, the guy may die. The same blood type turns out to be his father's. But Boyd does not want to transfuse it to his son, as he is afraid that the parasites under his skin will be transmitted to him. No one believes Boyd again, but suddenly everyone notices the parasites. Boyd decides to take a risk. He wants to pass these worms to the monsters outside. The man goes outdoors, injures one monster, and the parasites crawl over to him, after which he drops dead. which was previously thought impossible, as no weapons would take them. Boyd returns to the clinic and manages to transfuse his already clean blood to his son. We also learn that Fatima is pregnant, but it can't be, as the doctors have told her she can't have children. However, Donna assures Fatima that this place does incredible things. Eventually, Ellis learns of his lover's pregnancy. The main characters decide to perform an autopsy on the dead monster. They hope to understand how the parasites in the blood were able to kill it. However, it turns out that the monsters have no blood at all, and all their organs have dried up a long time ago. The only fluid in their bodies is bile. They collect it in a bottle and wet it with bullets to see if it can kill other monsters at night. Meanwhile, something strange begins to happen in the city. First of all, it's fall, and before it was summer all the time. And secondly, some of the residents are having strange dreams involving the music box. The main characters see cicadas appear on the corpse of a monster. After that, they're non-stop chirping in the town. Soon people's dreams take on a more sinister color and affect reality. One girl even dies. It's as if she was torn apart by a monster while she was sleeping. People realize that it is no longer safe for them to sleep. Tabitha tries to ask Victor about the children she's been seeing. The man takes her to a graveyard of cars that he has brought here over the years. Opening the trunk of one of the cars, Victor shows Tabitha the drawings and remembers that as a child he had a sister who disappeared the day everyone in town died. He believes it all happened because his mother went to a certain tower to save the children. In her view, it would have helped all the people get out. Tabitha realizes that she has also seen this tower in her dreams. Just to remind you, this is the same lighthouse from the end of season 1. Now Tabitha is also determined to get to the tower and save the children she sees in her hallucinations. All the newcomers have accepted the new rules of the place, except for one guy named Randall. He believes that he is being lied to by everyone, and in fact the leaders of the town are hiding the whole truth. He soon meets Jim, who after the house collapse and radio signal at the end of the first season, has also started to question the nature of the place. Jim thinks they are actually being watched, and Randall quickly picks up on his idea, elevating it to an absolute. At first they try to find out more information from the most suspicious personalities in the town. And then Randall goes off the deep end. He believes that Donna and Boyd are here to control the common people while someone is experimenting on them. So the guy kidnaps Donna, ties her to a tree, and plans to watch her at night. Supposedly no one's gonna lay a finger on her. Randall is stopped by Boyd, and since it's getting dark, they all hide together in an overturned trailer. Boyd decides to try out the new bullets he soaked in the monster's bile. But it doesn't work. Suddenly a melody from the box starts playing. The main characters panic and realize that they have to get out of here. Donna, Boyd, and Jim escape. But Randall is attacked by cicadas and falls into a coma. At the same time, the same thing happens to Muriel and Julie. Throughout the season, newcomer Elgin tries to remember the dream he had before he came to this town. Everything seems familiar to him, but at the same time so far away. Soon he learns of Fatima's pregnancy, and this is when he finally remembers everything. In his dream, the boy in white recites a nursery rhyme. Here they come for 3, unless you stop the melody. Boyd believes that when he gave the parasites to that monster, he unleashed some kind of entity that can kill people in their sleep as well. The only way out is to destroy the music box, but he doesn't know where it is. Meanwhile, Sarah is determined to do something to help the people of the city and asks Boyd to take her to the woods. They come to a ruined building where the main character met an old man earlier. Sarah begins to hear Randall, Marielle, and Julie screaming, as well as Melody. She knows where the music box is, but for some reason it is not in that location. Not knowing what they should do next, the main characters head back to town. Ellis realizes that after all that has happened, his beloved Fatima is beginning to give up. So he asks her to marry him. During the simple ceremony, Ellis gives a speech and Boyd figures out how to get back to the very place where he met the old man. He finds the torch he took from there and heads for the ruins. The lit torch actually takes Boyd to the place, but this time he sees Randall, Marielle, and Julie chained to the wall. The melody starts playing again, and some entity in the form of his wife appears. She tries to dissuade Boyd from destroying the music box and hints that this whole place feeds not on the suffering of the people living in the city, but on hope. Their deaths are inevitable. If the man destroys the music box, he will simply prolong their suffering. However, Boyd breaks the music box, and then Randall, Marielle, and Julie come to their senses, and the cicadas in town fall silent. A little earlier, Tabitha asks Victor to take her to the lighthouse. The man doesn't know where it is, but he knows how to get there. He leads her to a tree with bottles and tells her that a hole in the trunk will take her to the tower. This is what actually happens. Tabitha goes up to the top. Suddenly, a boy in white appears, apologizes, and throws her off the lighthouse. A few days later, she regains consciousness in the hospital and realizes that she has somehow left that cursed place. This is the end of the second season. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the like button. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.